One last thing, because it fits right in and I should talk about it, is pressure, strop pressure. Besides the offset, if you watch videos, old videos on YouTube that go back forever, people generally say whisper pressure, just such a light pressure when they're stropping, just with your strops, just very light pressure. I can't say that. What I can say to you is try different handhold positions, because that directs your pressure, and different pressure. Remember, we are making full flat contact and up and off, and we're trying to keep the pressure flat on the blade and not roll over it. So we're trying to go straight up and off. Straight up and off the tip, and follow through. Follow through, off and away on the tip, off and away. On the edge, up and off. Don't follow the tip. But the pressure, the point I last video, the point I want to make is you have to try different pressures until you learn what gives you the results you need. There are very experienced sharpeners, that people sharpening knives with wicked edge that I know well for years, and they use a whisper pressure on their strop. I lean on it. I mean, I'm not saying I lean to push, but I'm saying I make physical contact, and it's not whisper light. I can feel that I am pushing the leather against that edge. And I know that amount of pressure because I've tried different pressures to determine what pressure works for me. And that's what I'm trying to convey here, is the handhold position and the finger pressure and how you do it. That's all a learned thing that contributes to your art of sharpening, your regimen, your technique. So you're going to have to experiment, and you may round a few edges off. It's just part of the learning process. Following the recommendations with the setback, those are recommendations that we make to you to help you to avoid having those problems, so you get good results, so you're not, how can I say it? If it's so hard to do it, nobody's going to do it. So we have recommendations that help to make it easier to do, so that when you're starting, you get good outcomes and you can see what you're working at and improve upon it. If it's just so hard to get it, if it requires that perfect combination, then nobody could do it except for those people who could do that perfect combination. So there is leeway. Following those recommendations will give you good outcomes. And then it's incumbent upon you to play with it and figure out, where can I tweak it with my handhold and my pressure? And is it whisper for me, or is it more pressure? It may be that the person who's saying whisper is using the same amount of pressure that I am. They just use different semantics. And that happens all the time when we're talking about something like this, that we're all doing at home in our houses, and nobody sees what each person is doing, which is why I try to demonstrate. Anyway, I'm going to quit talking here. I hope I covered everything. I made a bunch of videos for you, Cole, because the subject is important with the stropping. And when we're first learning, it's so hard to recognize whether what we're doing is right or wrong. And we're trying to get it right because we put a lot of effort and a lot of time. One last thing. Looking at time. I don't know what you're using to judge. When is it time to move on? All I can tell you is the single most important thing that you can do to improve your sharpening outcome is to do it longer and with more attention to detail. When you're using a grit and you get to the point that you think you're done with that grit, do it a little longer and then compare it again. You'll be surprised if you take that time to go at it again and look a little more carefully, more scrutinizingly, spend a little more time on it. If you hear the sound, the scratch gets softer and quieter, then you know you've improved it. And then it's time to move on to the next one. So the single most important thing you can do for improve your outcomes is to sharpen with each grit longer before you go on. Don't set yourself up for, I'm going to do 200 strokes and then I'm going to do 200 strokes and then I'm going to do, I'm not saying that 200 strokes is wrong. I'm just saying that you can't necessarily plan how long it's going to take to get the results. And by setting your time limit, the amount of work that you're going to put sharpening that knife at the onset, you may be limiting the quality of your outcomes. Thanks.